Please stand by. Hello and welcome to the Child Welfare Capacity Building Center for State's Parent Partner Program Navigator Launch conference call. Today's call is being recorded. Before we begin, I'd like to turn it over to Christy Stankovich of the center. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon and good morning everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. As the operator mentioned, this webinar is being recorded. This webinar will also be interactive and will have several polling questions. At the end, we will address all Q&A, and you can ask a question on the Adobe Pod to your right. On the lower right, you'll find web resources that you can access at any time. I will now like to turn the call over to Jennifer Miceli of the Capacity Building Center for States.
Thank you so much, Christy, and good morning and good afternoon to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very excited to launch our Parent Partner Program Navigator to you all today. So I just quickly wanted to go over the agenda for the day. In a moment, I will introduce you to who you're going to hear from today, give a brief overview of the Capacity Building Collaborative and the Center for States. Then we'll go through the Navigator, talk about its purpose. We will demo the website for you and go over the 4 domains and 23 components of the program. And then we'll quickly go through some question and answer. Please feel free to enter questions throughout the webinar. We'll be taking time to pause through each domain for question and answer. So as questions come up in your head, please feel free to type them into that Q&A, and we'll get to them during our pauses where we have a chance to do that. And then we'll go through our evaluation and how you can contact us. So on the next slide, you'll see Taffy Compain. She's our National Foster Care Specialist from the Children's Bureau. I don't think she was able to make it today, but she has been instrumental in supporting this, the development of this product. I am Jennifer Marcelli. I'm the Program Area Manager for the Center for States. You'll also hear from Geraldo Pilarski, who's a Program Area Advisor for the Family Empowerment Agenda for the Center for States, as well as Denise Moore, who is a Family Consultant for the Center for States. So before we get started, I just want to do a quick introduction to the Child Welfare Capacity Building Collaborative and the Center for States. In October of 2014, ICF International was awarded a contract by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families Children's Bureau to establish the new Child Welfare Capacity Building Collaborative. On the next slide, you'll see that the Center for States, the Center for Tribes, and the Center for Courts partner to form the Capacity Building Collaborative. And the collaborative consolidates services that had been previously provided by National Child Welfare resource centers. The consolidation increases coordination, leverages resources, and provides more strategic service provision. Our goals in the collaborative are to work with partners and jurisdictions to support capacity building to lead to improved outcomes for children and families. And we do this by partnering with states, territories, tribes, and courts to identify, design, and implement innovative solutions that meet the unique needs of each jurisdiction. I've mentioned capacity building a couple of times, and it is an ongoing evidence-informed process that is intended to develop a system's potential to be productive and effective. And the center builds capacity by partnering with those public child welfare agencies to enhance and mobilize the human and organizational assets necessary to meet federal standards and requirements. And we use this information that we gather from research, expert consultation, and jurisdictions to strengthen systems and enhance the abilities of individuals in those systems to better achieve their goals. Through our evidence-based process, we strive to create proactive and effective partnerships with agencies. On the next slide, you'll see what we refer to as dimensions of capacity. And to assess agency needs and develop individualized solutions, we use these 5 dimensions of capacity. They're resources, infrastructure, knowledge and skills, culture and climate, engagement, and partnership. And you'll hear the presenters talk about this a couple of times throughout the webinar when we're talking about building and implementing parent-partner programs.
An illustration shows the 5 dimensions of capacity connected with arrows in a circle. The dimensions build on each other in a continuous process.
And sustaining them. On the next slide, you'll see our services, we serve state and territorial public child welfare agencies and 4E waiver demonstration jurisdictions.
A map of the United States shows 10 federal regions.
And we support the Center for States, where Maggie Bishop is our project director. And you might recognize ICF from our work with the Child Welfare Information Gateway, as ICF has a long history working on technical assistance contracts with the Children's Bureau and other government agencies. And the Center for States aims to provide those evidence-based capacity building support services that I mentioned before. And to achieve this goal, we work with our partners to create and deliver coordinated, inclusive, and well-informed capacity building services. On the next slide, you'll see our different service areas within the Center for States: universal services, constituency services, and tailored services. And each of these areas aim to fulfill the needs of child welfare professionals and organizations, as well as supporting them in achieving their goals. Our universal services promote engagement among a broad nationwide audience of state agency professionals. And we do this by developing and providing resources, tools, and products. And the Parent Partner Navigator is an example of that. Our constituency services include learning experiences, and you'll hear about our Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy today, which is one of those. We launched that a couple of weeks ago. And peer networking opportunities. We also have a constituency group in this area called Family Leaders in Child Welfare. So if you're not on it, if you'd like more information, please let us know. And those are our networking opportunities that we aim to a targeted group of individuals or professional cohorts. And then we have our tailored services, which provide direct capacity building support to state agencies and territories, focusing on capacity building and implementation efforts. So now that I've given you a brief overview of the collaborative in the center, we want to move toward why you all are here today. And so today's purpose is to introduce you all to our Parent Partner Program Navigator, which is a web-based tool that is really designed to assist child welfare staff and parent partner leaders in designing and implementing parent partner programs. So our objectives for you all today are to explain the key role of parent partners and their role in child welfare, describe the Navigator, describe the capacity building approach that informs the Navigator, show you how to locate and use the resource, and then how to utilize the Navigator in creating a program of your own, and then talk about a plan for sustainability. So before I turn it over, we wanted to do a quick polling to see where folks who are on the call are at in terms of your involvement with the Parent Partner Program. So the question is, are you currently involved with the Parent Partner Program? Yes or no? I'm seeing the majority is no, but it's pretty even. So almost about half and half.
In response to the poll, about 47% say yes, and about 53% say no.
And then there's a second part to the question, which is, if you are involved with the Parent Partner Program, what is your role? Are you a parent partner, an agency director, agency field staff, a program coordinator, a community provider, or other? And then we'll ask if you can fill in what that is. So we have a couple parent partners, an agency director, agency staff, a couple program coordinators, and a couple of others.
The participant responses are as follows. 30% are parent partners, 10% are agency directors, 10% are agency field staff, 20% are program coordinators, 0% are community providers, and 30% are other. Other responses include TA provider and technical assistance.
Great, so it sounds like we have a mix of folks. So it sounds like we've got about half of you are involved and half of you aren't, so this will be great information. Our presenters will really take you through how to use this Navigator when you're starting from the ground up, as well as how you can utilize it if you're already implemented a program and how you want to move forward. So I'm going to turn it over to Geraldo. Geraldo?
Thank you, Jennifer. So good afternoon, everybody. Good morning for those who are on the other part of the country. Welcome to the Navigator. First of all, I just wanted to thank all the people that participated in the creation of this particular tool. It's been a true co-creation process where we had a lot of family consultants as well as center staff involved, and I think that the idea came about as we spoke about family engagement in child welfare and recognized that for many parents this is a traumatic experience, and that at that initial stage it will be critical to ensure that there is some kind of support. And we also looked at what's available out there and recognized that many states have done a tremendous job on this area, and that peer support has a long history in some other fields, for example, the mental health. And so looking at that and looking at the opportunity, we said, wouldn't it be great to have a tool that brought together some good information and provided a roadmap to states that are looking to build capacity in this area? So that was the impetus, and I would like to go to the next slide. And we would like to go to the actual site so we can do a quick demo so you can see the product, and then we will guide you through how to utilize it.
The slide shows the Parent Partner Program Navigator homepage, accessible at https://capacity.childwelfare.gov/states/focus-area/family-partner-navigator.
So to access it, essentially you will go to the Capacity Building Collaborative website. And then when you are there, you're going to find the family empowerment area. So this is within the Center for States. And then within that, you will see the Navigator as one of the products that is available. And so you will see exactly what you were seeing, the Parent Partner Program Navigator. And so if we can go down a little bit, this will give you a quick at-glance overview of the tool. So you can see there are domains. The first domain is assessing needs, also assessing readiness and capacity.
Domain 1, Assessing Needs, Readiness, and Capacity, provides guidance on building a parent-partner program by conducting a readiness assessment, identifying capacity-building needs, and developing a theory of change.
And then domain number 2 is the program design process.
Domain 2, Program Design, offers recommendations for forming a design team, selecting a program model, and shaping infrastructure to promote effective peer-to-peer support.
And then domain number 3 is around program management.
Domain 3, Program Management, assists in developing policies and procedures, providing supervision for evaluating outcomes, and planning for sustainability.
And then domain number 4 is engagement and partnerships.
Domain 4, Engagement and Partnerships, explores how engagement and partnerships strengthen a parent-partner program.
So we gathered a lot of information that is out there and brought it all together, and then we structured the Navigator under those 4 domains. And you can see that in each domain there are a number of components that starts with focusing on the needs of the families, assessing agency readiness, and then information about how to build capacity, how to create a theory of change, and then a lot of information about program design, program implementation, program management, and so forth and so forth. So that's one way that you can access that information. And then if we go up again, I can show, we can see that the whole document, it's about 75 pages.
The screen shows a cover of the Parent Partner Program Navigator, followed by the table of contents.
The Parent Partner Navigator, the whole document is actually available to be downloaded. And Krista is doing that. So you can download it, you can print it, and then you can use it. So that's another way that you can use it, and that's another tool. And then a little bit further down, if we can go back to the website, Christy. Okay, so if we go down a little bit further down, you can see that Take the Assessment.
A blue button on the top right side of the Navigator homepage reads, Take the Assessment.
This is a link that will take you to the Agency Readiness Assessment tool, which is a part of the downloadable Navigator. And so that's another tool. And then you can see also a link for the Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy, which is a training academy for parent leaders, family leaders that the center has created. And one of the e-learning modules actually provides some initial overview training for parent partners and agency leaders interested in learning more about this particular role.
Below Take the Assessment on the right side of the Navigator homepage is a link to the e-learning module for new parent partners.
And then there is one more tool available, which is the Consolidated Tools and Resources. And again, there is a link there.
A link to tools and resources can be found below the FELA e-learning link.
We also have created a simple program manual that has the policies and procedures, and later we will introduce that, and we will eventually post it right under Tools and Resources, so this is where you will find it. So this gives you a quick sense of the Navigator. We can now go and maybe enter one of the components. Let's look at focusing on the needs of the families, the component number 1.
Component 1 of the Parent Partner Program Navigator is focusing on the needs of families and the power of partnerships.
Christy? Okay. All right. Thank you, Christy. So here, initially, what we're thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. So this component provides some good information about really defining the challenges that your families have. Child welfare is a complex field, and so working with family leaders in your state and with field staff to really articulate what are the needs of our families. That's the starting point. And then beginning to work on a consensus around a framework to promote partnership and partnerships for safety. So that is kind of that initial step.
Page 7 of the Parent Partner Program Navigator appears on screen, displaying the full text of Component 1.
And then we can now go back to the website, to the PowerPoint presentations, please. I'm sorry.
The slide is entitled Components 1 through 4.
Okay. All right. So these initial 3 components, assessing needs, assessing readiness, assessing capacity, and creating a theory of change, is really about defining that problem and then looking at where is our agency in terms of culture, climate, in terms of capacity. Are we ready to engage parents at this level? And then it's really important to articulate a hypothesis about the expected changes. So if we were to offer peer-to-peer support to parents new to the system, what are the likely changes? What is it that is going to be the impact? So really, there is good information here about how to really build consensus around that, as well as tips and tools on how to create that theory of change. If we go to the next slide.
The next step is the design phase.
So the agency readiness, if we can go back to, I just want to spend a little bit of time because this is a really important step at this early stage. In New Hampshire, when we started our program design process about 6 or 7 years ago, we were very fortunate to be able to contract a consultant that came and conducted an agency readiness assessment. And it was a beautiful experience, very challenging. We learned a ton about where our staff was at that point, and we understood that there were a lot of resistance, and it was kind of heating. And so it really provided us a lot of information that has become really important in the design of the program itself. So we recommend, we have created a tool with some critical questions. And I wanted to emphasize that this tool is not to say, okay, then our state cannot, build a program like this, or we cannot improve our program. It's really just to give you a baseline where people are at and what are some of the barriers, as well as what are the strengths, what are the foundations that we already have in place. And then the next slide is going to provide us some information about, so then what do you do with that information?
The slide is entitled Capacity Building Dimensions. Most child welfare agencies and systems will need to build capacity to successfully provide peer-to-peer support to parents. The slide shows 4 connected arrows moving forward. 1. Building agency capacity. 2. Building family capacity. 3. Setting up a program infrastructure. And 4. Creating and sustaining culture and practice changes.
That will be really instrumental in helping you create a capacity building framework. And so dimensions of capacity for parent partner programs that are really critical is, what about parent partners? So building family capacity, building the capacity of the parent partners is one key piece to be thinking about. Also, where are we at as an agency? Do we have the resources? And then setting up the program, and then thinking of culture and climate. So the agency readiness assessment will give you good information about that. And there are some critical initial steps that are important in this stage, and that's on the next slide. Some of them include some key decisions.
An illustration shows the 5 dimensions of capacity, connected with arrows in a circle. The dimensions build on each other in a continuous process.
So if we can go to the next slide, dimensions of capacity. So resources. Obviously parent partners, so the staff, and then sometimes we think of resources as funding. That's a really important one, but then also be thinking broadly in terms of resources. And then the infrastructure. Many states started the program by just getting a parent and then matching the parent. And I think those early days where people were bravely, being innovative and all of that, I think that's a piece that we learned a ton. And so now one of those lessons is that you really need a program infrastructure. In terms of knowledge and skills, there will be more information later on in terms of the competency framework for parent partners. It really takes someone special to do this kind of peer support. Culture and climate, it is absolutely critical that you meet staff wherever they are at, address the fears. We really were fortunate with the agency readiness assessment that we did, because we understood some of the fears of the staff, and then we were able to successfully address that, to find a methodology to bring people, parents and staff, create a safe setting, and we actually use a methodology. It's 2 days, it's very intense, and it's been really, really transformative for the whole agency. And then engagement in partnerships. Many states now are beginning to look at this, and some are really in an advanced stage. Denise will share a little bit about her own state. And so there is a ton of learning that has occurred, and so we really encourage folks to reach out We from New Hampshire, we went, for example, to the state of Maine and spent a day there with their parent partners and the agency leaders, and it was really helpful for us. I believe there are more than 20 states already with some kind of a parent partner program, and actually the center has created a constituency group that includes family leaders and agency leaders that are in some way involved in family engagement. And so we are really encouraging that cross collaboration, and I think that those are the key pieces to be thinking in terms of dimensions of capacity building in this area. So there are some key decisions. The next slide is going to talk about some of those early steps in terms of forming the design team.
Forming the design team is component 5.
There are many ways that you can bring people together. I think the design team format is ideal. It is really important to create a participatory process. In New Hampshire, I think the most valuable decision that we made was to involve parents right from the beginning of that process, engage the field staff, engage administration, engage other key stakeholders. So the design team format works really well for this. And in component find, you will find tools and tips on how to guide that process. We can go now to the next slide. So some key early decisions: identify the champions, form the design team, the design committee, create a compelling vision, really messaging this in a strong way, identify and engage the important stakeholders, and meet people where they are at. I'm going to do a quick pause. I don't know if there are questions so far, but this is the capacity building approach, the initial phase in designing and implementing parent-partner programs. And if there are no questions, then I will turn it over to Denise, who is going to go over another key decision, which is a choice in terms of what program model. Denise?
Thank you, Geraldo. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Denise Moore. I'm also a service area coordinator in the state of Iowa, as well as a family consultant for the center, and have had the opportunity to work with alongside the rest of the family consultants. We have an amazing family consultant team that has worked alongside the center in developing this product, and it's just been an honor to go through this process and see the outcome. I remember when we first started developing our program in Iowa and really starting from scratch, and having this information for states and jurisdiction is going to be critical when developing a program. So I'm going to be able to highlight some of the components that are critical in the design phase. The first one is selecting a program model, of course, as you can see.
Component 6 is selecting a program model.
This component is around 3 program models that we have identified throughout the nation, and then highlighting some challenges and advantages for each of the models, and tips and tools to help guide teams in selecting a model that meets their individual needs for their own community. Next slide, please. So these are the 3 program models that we've identified. Although all the parent-partner program models all provide peer-to-peer support, they differ in who employs the parent partners and other characteristics. There are 3 program models, as you can see by the bubbles.
An image of 3 overlapping bubbles representing the 3 program models to be selected during the design phase.
Above, and that they have been adopted in the field. One is parent partners as child welfare agency staff or contracted with the agency. Then there's parent partners contracted by nonprofit organizations or contracted with the agency, and parent partners as legal aid staff. The Navigator gives us a description of the various models and includes both the benefits and challenges that could occur with each model. Some examples of that might be in a child welfare agency model, for example, families might be
mistrusting of their parent partner working so closely with the agency. There's also an issue of whether or not parent partners can be hired on as staff, so that would need to be addressed. But but it also gives a trust-based relationship with the agency, so that could be a benefit to having this kind of a program model. Contracted by nonprofit organizations, that's what we are now. When we first began our program, we were actually located in our DHS offices, and then in 2013, our agency, our Child Welfare Administration in Iowa, contracted to implement parent partners in all 99 counties of our state. They, at that point, contracted with Children and Families of Iowa, and that's the kind of model that we have. Our parent partners are independent contractors, so that's kind of another dimension that you will want to look at. Are we going to be able to hire them? Can they be independent contractors? Our our model kind of has our parent partners coming in. We develop professional skills. They move on into their careers. They go to school. They have part-time jobs, and then we bring in other parent partners. So we're constantly bringing in and working with new parents and developing them skills so they can grow professionally and be self-sufficient in their life. Also, there's the legal aid staff kind of program model, and that is when a parent partner is actually matched with an attorney. Some benefits of that might be that the parent partners are able to advocate. That could also be a challenge in some ways. Most of the challenges relate to trust between the child welfare agency and the families. And as parent partners, we are constantly trying to engage families in services because we know that that's what's going to have successful outcomes. That's how they're going to stay in success after their case closes. In the legal kind of program model, it could possibly look like a parent partner would have an adversarial role, and they could be asked to testify in court, as where in our particular model they would not be asked to do that. We don't testify or create reports for the agency. We're strictly just an engagement tool. So there were kind of the three program models, but in the Navigator it explains all of them in detail and what benefits for each model is spelled out as well. Next slide, please. Now I'm going to talk about component number 7, which is setting up the recruitment and selection process. During the recruitment process, it is really critical to keep the agency invested in a participant in the selection, interviewing, and problem-solving aspects of the process. The Navigator provides tools and resources to assist states and jurisdictions with their recruitment and selection processes, as well as giving examples of eligibility criteria that are happening throughout the state.
Also included are samples of interview questions and ideas about whom to include on the interviewing panel.
In Iowa, one way that we have, one strategy we've used, I guess, to include our DHS partners in the process is we have identified DHS liaisons. So they're supervisors in each of our regions that go through the interviewing process with our parent partners. All of our parent partners have to have recommendations from their worker, or if their worker has moved on to a different job or left, then we would take recommendations from the community or somebody in their case that has showed that they've resolved whatever issues had brought them to the attention of the department, and that they're working to maintain a healthy lifestyle. They provide problem solving, so if there's an issue that comes up with a parent partner, then we're able to address it immediately with the worker and have that person kind of be the liaison between us and the workers. We also create interventions, or I don't know if I'd call it interventions, but situations where we're having them kind of conversations with what's working well, how can we improve, how are the relationships between the workers and the parent partners, and watching it through this process has now it's just a standard form of practice within our workers. Our workers now, through kind of that trust building between our parent partners and our workers, are like requesting particular parent partners for certain roles and being on certain teams and being mentoring with certain families. So it really has increased the engagement and the trust between our parent partners and our workers, our frontline staff. Next slide. Next slide. Thank you. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about role description.
Component 8 is role description.
It's imperative, as Geraldo talked a little bit about the design team, that when you're working with your design team to develop these roles that and responsibilities and the program model, that you have your parent voice involved. He had mentioned that earlier, and then having key community stakeholders as well to really establish what the role is of the parent partner and what that's going to look like for in your area or particular community. A solid infrastructure must be built with clear definitions and expectations of the parent partner role. It's very imperative that there's very clear communication, training, and substantial support to ensure that parent partners have every opportunity to be successful in their new role. And the Navigator provides a parent partner role description, includes both their primary role of providing the peer-to-peer support and their secondary role of infusing the parent voice in practices and policies that impact children and families throughout the child welfare system. Next slide. Some areas of focus for parent partners. I'm going to just talk about kind of as an agency and what the Navigator has to offer.
The slides show areas of focus for parent partners in 3 overlapping bubbles. 1, immediate emotional support. 2, system guidance. And 3, nurturing hope.
Parent partners are instrumental in family engagement strategies for states or jurisdictions. Parent partners have an instant connections with families based on the shared experience of having their children removed. Families are often fearful of the system and come from a chaotic world that make it difficult to understand why their children are removed and what they have to do to have them return home. Parent partners show the family a pathway to reunification and envision what they do that can have a wonderful life, providing their family a safe and stable environment. They also help remove the fear and mistrust so that families can focus their energy on moving forward. And one of the most important things I think that parent partners bring to families is hope. Our parents, when they come to the attention of the department, are usually very beaten down, and our parent partners can say, I've been there, I've done this, and now look where I'm at today, and let me show you how to do it as well. So they walk through them through their whole entire case and show them that it is possible for them to have a different life. Next slide. Some of the roles with other parents.
The role of parent partners with other parents are 1, trusted ally. 2, guide. 3, coach and mentor. 4, barrier buster. And 5, bridge builder.
Parent partners are able to share their experience so that families are able to trust and engage with someone at the time of removal, which is very critical. I know as a birth parent myself, when I came into the system, I kind of wandered around and languished in the system for a long time, not knowing which path to take, and our parent partners can get families immediately moving towards a path to have their children returned home and be able to see their kids and be able to start accomplishing their goals. The system is very scary for families and difficult to navigate and understand. Parent partners are almost bilingual, being able to speak the language of families and the system, so they are often interpreters of processes, practices, and policies that are being implemented. They help families to navigate the system and connect them to community resources. They also model appropriate behavior and mentor families on how to communicate with child welfare professionals. As parent partners, we know that accountability and honesty is vital to the success of the family, and parent partners are able to have them hard conversations with families in a language that they understand. They have also lived and understand the stages of change that a family must go through to be successful. So parent partners help families to see the big picture, stay focused on the steps needed to have their children returned home safely, and they also know that engaging with the worker and team is critical to the success. So the parent partners are always encourage families to build the necessary relationships with professionals so that true long-lasting change can occur. Next slide. Some of the roles with agency staff. Child safety is the utmost priority of the Parent Partner Program.
The role of parent partners with agency staff are 1. Trusted advisor, 2. Cultural translator, 3. Partner, 4. Barrier buster, and 5. Bridge builder.
It is the philosophy of the Parent Partner Program that by supporting and engaging parents, we are able to not only support reunification, but also achieve permanency and well-being of their children involved in child welfare. Our belief is that we need to heal the family, and we do that by supporting the parents so they can provide a safe and stable home. Parent partners know that the family must be engaged in services to be able to keep their children safe at home. So parent partners are also cultural brokers between child welfare staff and their families they are working with. They understand the culture of substance abuse, poverty, mental health, domestic violence, as well as different variables when working with families of color. So they work on several groups that address the issues of reducing disproportionality and disparate outcomes for children and families of color. It is especially important when developing your pool of parent partners that you have a diverse workforce so that matching can occur according to race, culture, and ethnicity, as we know that certain populations have different experiences when they are involved with child welfare. And I think Geraldo will be talking a little bit about cultural responsiveness later on in the PowerPoint or webinar. Parent partners are trained to participate in policy and decision-making teams throughout child welfare. They have a unique experience that can influence change with families and systems alike. Parent partners sit at policy tables all across our child welfare system, including courts, agency providers, and volunteer in our community. Parent partners are facilitators, trainers, and are experts at sharing their experience to enhance or change current practices and policies. Parent partners are an engagement strategy for our child welfare agency, and one of our social worker administrators here in Iowa always says that parent partners is the best engagement strategy that our child welfare system has. The program must be developed and implemented on a foundation of trust. When trust is established through strategic interventions, workers believe in the program. When this occurs, the culture and climate of the agency is affected, as well as how the parents see the agency. Parent partners continually work to build relationships between parents and the professionals on their team. We know the success of the case in the family is based on trust-based relationships and shared visions. Next slide, please. Okay. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about training.
Component 9 is training parent partners.
A training plan needs to be comprised that involves specific interventions, as I mentioned before, so that parents, foster parents, and social workers are able to build a foundation of trust with each other. It is critical that parents and social workers are able to identify with each other and learn how similar they are to each other. Relationships are the foundation of the program, and the program management needs to look for every opportunity to bring everybody together. Parent partners should be trained on confidentiality, boundaries and ethics, agency protocols, processes, court processes, substance abuse, mental health, domestic violence, and we will have in the Navigator, it will have descriptions of some of the trainings that are taking place, and also in our program manual, they'll have samples from different states on different training that states have established for their parent partners. Our center, as you've seen before, has the Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy that has been developed by family consultants and center staff to engage systems in working with family leaders. It's on the same page, the Family Empowerment page. that the navigator is on, and there's also a link in the resource box below, or I am not quite sure where's on your screen, but somewhere on your screen there's a link on there that will take you to the family empowerment to show the that has some specific interventions to bring systems and parents together. Now I'm going to hand it back over to Geraldo, and he can discuss facilitating the peer-to-peer process.
Component 10 is facilitating the peer support process.
Thank you, Denise. I don't know if there are any questions so far. Maybe we can pause just for a moment.
And just as a reminder, if you do have some questions, there's a Q&A chat pod that you can write your questions into. And again, please feel free to enter as questions come up, and we can try to answer them. So I see, Geraldo, there is a question that came up. Are they trained on intergenerational issues too?
Do you want to answer that? Okay, go ahead.
So I think that will obviously depend on the state, and I think that's a specific topic that probably it's a good idea to include. In general, states have kind of like a core academy and then some specialized trainings. So I think that's a good idea. I don't know, Denise, if in your state that's already included.
Well, we have many opportunities. So all the trainings that our workers have and that our court systems have, and parent partners are most likely eligible to attend them. So they're able to get multitudes of training, and I don't know that there's been one specific on that, but I do know that it could be beneficial to them. I believe that they already have some knowledge of intergenerational, but I think that we constantly are providing them multitudes of trainings to broaden their horizons and so that they're more knowledgeable of the child welfare system and the issues.
Jennifer.
Great, thanks, and Geraldo, for that. There was another question that came in. How long did the process take in the states which are doing this, from organizational readiness to having parent navigators on board?
Denise.
I'll just speak from in our state, in Iowa. I think that from our very first meeting until we had parent partners actually mentoring, it was a year. But I will say this, is that we never had these tools. So we started from scratch with very little information, trying to figure out what it was going to look like, how to implement an infrastructure to support that, what it was going to look like for compensation. Was it going to be placed in an agency? Was it going to be placed in a nonprofit organization? So there was all of them questions. Was this tool, and I think I can speak for Geraldo as well, would have been so beneficial for us, because we would know what are the key components that we need to address, that we need to come up with, and how can we move faster. So I'm thinking that would speed up the process considerably, just having these tools to be able to get us there. I think to be full-blown, we've been going for 10 years now. So we started the very first mentoring started in 2007, and we're now, 10 years later, but we're in all 99 counties of our state. So we have now gone statewide. So that kind of gives you an idea of what it takes to expand and develop that kind of solid infrastructure.
Geraldo.
So I share Denise's sentiment that this is major organizational change, and so it may take time. I think it all depends on where the state is. That's why we have emphasized the importance of that agency readiness assessment. It might be that a particular state, the labor force, key partners, key allies, resources, everything is aligning, and so you may be able to move a little faster. I think the biggest lesson that we learned was to really meet people where they are at, and work from the foundation on a pace that makes sense, because it's not just about having a parent partner in a particular field office. It's about the supports. It's about whether the staff are seeing the value, and those shifts in culture and climate sometimes take time, and sometimes they go faster. So I would say having the resource, and I think the Navigator probably will provide the blueprint and maybe help speed up the process. But I really encourage people to be thoughtful, strategic, and really see where are we at now, and then and that will, I think it will be the way to go. So Denise, I don't see any more questions.
Jennifer.
There's a few more questions, though, but I'm wondering if we should. Yeah, but I'm wondering if we should move through the next components, and then I just want to make sure we have time to get to that, and then we can come back to the questions.
I think that's a good idea. So let me just continue with the design phase. I think Denise provided a lot of information about those some critical pieces of the building that program infrastructure. Another one that your design team we really strongly recommend to work on is that, so how does the peer-to-peer support process work? And really build consensus on that. So component 10 provides some good information on the essence of the peer support and how it works. It also provides tips and tools to guide various teams on kind of how to set up the peer-to-peer support process in your state. And the next slide provides kind of a visual of that process. And so, the selection of parent-partner programs, the matching process, some good information about, strategic matching, so that there is success on that mentoring relationship. And then also good information about the kinds of activities that are kind of the essence of the peer-to-peer support process. We really have learned that it's important that the parent partners don't become like case managers. They really have a key role, and there are key activities that have shown to be really impactful and create the impact that it's desired. So, as well as information about closure of the relationship. In some agencies, we're seeing that as a powerful way to help parents that may be socially isolated build their support network. They connect with a peer, and then all of a sudden they are now a part of a community. And I think that's a really strong benefit of the Parent Partner Program as well. The next component addresses cultural responsiveness as well as gender-informed practices.
Components 11 and 12 are cultural responsiveness and gender-informed practices.
Historically, as we know, child welfare sometimes has not been able to serve well minorities, for example, or there has been a power differential or just a culture gap between staff, public agency staff, and the families that we serve. And so parent partners can be that critical bridge. They are members of the community. They know well the values and of the community. And so they can infuse that within the culture and practice of the local office, the field office. And that's a really great way to improve our whole system-wide ability and capacity to be culturally responsive. The other legacy that is not so positive in child welfare is how we have not been able to positively engage fathers. For the longest, we've been seen as a system that is maybe mother-centered or just not as able to work with fathers. And so imagine if you build a pool of parent partners that includes fathers, and they can really play a key role in helping build the bridge with the fathers. So this component 11 and 12 provide some good information and as well as tools and resources to infuse those particular dimensions already in the design of your parent partner program.
The next step is the implementation phase.
And then component 13 to 19, it's all about now program management. And so I'm going to now turn it over to Denise. She can provide a quick overview of that. And then we'll be introducing the simple program manual. Denise?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so program management is really the heart of maintaining the program. The support and monitoring of the parent partners is critical in the maintenance of the programs. Parent partners should be supported both in their professional development and their personal life. We've done it through multi-layers of oversight. So in the Navigator, it will show you some of the different roles. We have coordinators that are working one-on-one with parent partners, doing face-to-faces weekly. We've also instituted within our parent partner program a kind of a support system within the program, so parent partners are holding each other accountable. We've had lead parent partners that are providing oversight and working with the parent partners, coaching and mentoring them, as well as we have a mental health clinician that meets with them monthly to work on any kind of triggers or things that are happening in their specific cases. So we have multi-levels of support for parent partners, and I think that is like one of the most, I know that for me as a service area coordinator, I'm constantly with my coordinators, how are we supporting parent partners? How are we supporting parent partners? Because it is such a critical piece. We want them to be healthy and be giving them messages to engage with services to really change their life. And we need to be supporting them so that they're able to give that message. Compensation and invoicing has to be determined and implemented to ensure that parent partners are compensated for all the work they're doing. So that design team kind of at the beginning that Geraldo talked about, we would be kind of establishing how are we going to pay them? How are we going to work on data? What data are we going to be able to collect? How are we going to be able to show families are being reunified or that their length of stay is being shortened or they're not coming back into the system? So them are all forms and processes and trackings, processes that need to be implemented so the program can show the validity of the work that the parent partners are doing. This section of the Navigator includes program leadership and oversight, developing policies and procedures, supervising, coaching, supporting parent partners, providing compensation, building evidence through evaluation, and promoting sustainability. I don't know if we want to take questions now or if we want to wait till the end, Jennifer. Otherwise, I'm going to transition it to Jennifer to kind of talk about the program model. Daniel.
Sure. I think we'll keep going, and then that way we make sure we get through it, and then we'll go back to the questions that we have. So thank you so much, Denise. Yeah, so we have a sample program manual that accompanies the Parent Partner Navigator, and this should be up online. The same link that you would get to the Navigator, the sample program manual will be posted there as well. It should be posted any day now, so we'll make sure you guys know when it's there. And as you see on the screen, some of the things that it includes, but really the purpose of this manual is, to really give state and local programs a head start. I think as Geraldo and Denise talked about in terms of how long it takes to build a program from the ground up, having some of these resources helps things go much quicker. And so the manual offers recommendations on key parent-partner program manual components. It has some guiding principles in there and some sample statements, policies, and procedures. So the samples represent some of the best policy and operational guidance available from parent-partner programs across the country. We're able to gather stuff from all over to put in there. And the purpose of the program manual is to really support parent-partner program design teams, steering committees, or other designated entities, so typically the program administrators, family leaders, and key stakeholders in developing program manuals. And those really guide the ongoing operation of their program. And the document can be a resource for new parent-partner programs to develop a program manual and for existing parent-partner programs to review and update and add to their policies and procedures. And the sample program manual, has things that you can take and make your own and personalize them for your different programs. So I'm going to see if Geraldo or Denise has anything else to add about the manual, but, we think that this is a very helpful attachment to the Program Navigator that will really help you start to operationalize and materialize your program.
It's huge, helpful. I recall 6 years ago we would have loved to have something like that, and I think the idea is it's totally yours, customizable. Take it, modify. But it does provide that early, some simple language, and I think it's just a tremendous achievement. And we encourage everyone to, look at this, and we hope it will be helpful to you.
I would agree. I think we spent a lot of time and effort developing forms and processes, and we have samples in there that you can actually take and modify to meet the individual needs of your own community. So it would have been amazing to have that from the beginning, and I think that it will be so instrumental for new sites developing programs. And then modifying them documents to fit their needs. So I'm really excited about it too. We've taken forms from all across the United States on different programs and given you samples so that you're able to modify them. So it's going to be amazing when it becomes live.
Thank you. So I think on the next slide is just a reminder of where you can find the Navigator, and the program manual sample will be up there.
The sample program manual can be accessed at https://capacity.childwelfare.gov/states/focus-areas/family-partner-navigator.
So I think I'm turning it back over to Denise to continue.
Okay, and I'm going to just talk briefly about key partnerships. Thank you, Jennifer.
Components 20 through 24 are key partnerships. This is the consolidation phase.
I think when we first developed our program, we did have the steering committee. We called it a steering committee of a parent partnership steering committee. We brought in substance abuse, mental health providers, our child welfare administration, frontline workers, supervisors, and kind of built champions around the program. Them partnerships have been key to supporting parent partners, not only within the work they do with families, but also in the community. They've offered us endless resources, trainings, partnerships with our university's evaluation forms, how to collect data, we had a partnership with the University of Nebraska, creating a database so that we can have a place to store the data so that we can start collecting that. And and building an evidence-based program. And it's such a large process, but but we now are on the California Clearinghouse for evidence-based program as a promising program or promising best practice. So I think that as you are building kind of them partnerships to be champions around your parent-partner program, that's kind of the thought process that you will want to take in. Also, I think bringing in court staff or attorneys to have them conversations with judges about whether or not you're going to be having the parent partners writing court reports or testifying in court, them kind of conversations and rallying around the program is just extremely beneficial for the parent partners. Our parent partners are on all different teams throughout our child welfare agency. So they're working with foster parents, they're working with the courts, they're working with substance abuse providers, they're working with the mental health field, domestic violence. We've got support groups in many, many agencies for families that are going through domestic violence, non-custodial parents. All of them relationships have been built from the partnerships that we started building from the very beginning. So it's a critical piece to really establishing a good program, a successful program. And then the next slide. I'm going to just talk about the key learning points. The Navigator is a wonderful tool designed to assist states and jurisdictions in implementing and designing the parent-partner program, but cannot stand alone. States must first evaluate the needs of their own community and create a design process that includes parents, child welfare administration, frontline workers, court partners, and community providers. This team must be champions of the program and establish all the necessary components to meet their individual needs. The parent story is a true motivator for change in the culture and climate of systems. Parents should be taught and trained to be able to strategically share their story, and I can tell you it was the motivating factor in how quickly our program developed and expanded, how quickly we developed trust within our agency and community. Our parents should be brought on from the very beginning of designing and development and implementation and promotion of the program. They are instrumental in the success of the program. Now, as we've moved on, our parent partners have gone into having wonderful careers, and for me and many of our service area coordinators across our state and coordinators have careers now that we are able to support our families with because of the interventions that took place with us. So them supports are critical to our success, to the parent partners that we are bringing in new, and we're just really excited about helping share this through the Navigator with the rest of the nation. So thank you, and I think Geraldo, you want to discuss how we can build some sustainability strategies throughout the program?
Thank you.
An illustration for the sustainability phase shows the 5 dimensions of capacity connected with arrows in a circle.
Thank you, Denise. So I think that those of us involved in this, for me, it's been just such a humbling experience. It's such a hopeful process. It is just so transformative, and I have seen over and over again the healing that this brings. And I think one dimension that I'm seeing in New Hampshire now that is really important is that we're implementing family engagement strategies that are considered evidence-based. For example, we have adopted solution-based casework. And I have no doubt that the presence of our family leaders, our parent leaders, is really that glue that is really helping staff really understand how that process works. One of the tenets of solution-based casework is partnering with families. And we really hear from staff that they really understand that when they come for a 2-day workshop and meet parents and our parent leaders and then really spend time. And so creating those safe space, I would say it's really, really advisable. So agencies that are thinking about this begin to think of sustainability from the very beginning and say, what does it take? And I would like us to just look again at the dimensions of capacity building, resources, infrastructure, knowledge and skills, culture and climate, and engagement and partnerships. All of this will play a critical role whether you can sustain the program or not. And so just being very alert to that. And the next slide is going to show us some of the specific strategies that your agency can use. In New Hampshire, we have been very intentional about this. And so what we have done is systematically integrated the Parent Partner Program as part of our agency practice model. Child welfare agencies are now increasingly utilizing practice models to build consensus around, what are our values as well as what are the strategies that we're going to use to positively impact families. And so we intentionally integrated our Parent Partner Program as a core family engagement strategy. So it's not an initiative, it's not on the side, it's really central. It's part of our core business. We also have integrated it into our continuous quality improvement, the famous CQI process. It is part of our CFSR process, so anytime we do have the Child and Family Services Review happening in our state, we're involved in integrating that. And then planning for program evaluation, that's an important strategy. You may be able to partner with the university. We are very fortunate that we have a partnership with Harvard University to conduct an implementation and impact study. So those are some of the things, but you can also do internal agency information gathering and planning for program evaluation. And then another key strategy is the promoting capacity for innovation. We know that the needs of our families continue to change, and they are increasingly becoming more complex. And so for the Parent Partner Program to really be able to be sustained, it needs to be continuously looking again at the needs of the families and then being able to innovate and to ensure that the parent partners themselves are getting trained on the most up-to-date processes and practices and activities. So those are some strategies that we recommend. Again, making sure that it's not an initiative on the side that could quickly be, is the flavor of the year and then it disappears. So systematically integrating into your core business and then really plan for sustainability from the very, very beginning. I would like to just review some of the key learning points from today's webinar. It is really, really abundantly clear to those of us involved with this that peer support is a powerful family engagement strategy. I recently heard from one of our parents in the state of New Hampshire that 20 years of therapy didn't provide the kind of healing that the Parent Partner Program now is providing to her. And so that's really, really powerful. And I think that it's that gift of hope. It's a challenging work, child welfare. We have a labor force that is feeling very thin, and in New Hampshire, we are strategically integrating our parents in our field offices, and they are really becoming a source of hope for our staff. They can see the changes possible. Parent partners are key allies in child welfare. Program design, implementation, and sustainability needs to be thoughtful and purposeful. We recommend the capacity building approach that we described today. It integrates the best knowledge and expertise and a ton of resources from the field. Maybe some of you will recognize your own material integrated. It also takes the best of implementation science and bring those two sources of knowledge together, and that is the Navigator. So it's a great tool to help agencies build capacity in this area. We hope you enjoyed the webinar. I think now we will be looking to answer any other more questions. So,
Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Geraldo and Denise, for going through all of that. As you all can tell, there's a lot covered in the Parent Partner Program Navigator. So we encourage you all to go to that, the link, and open the Navigator and take a look and really familiarize yourself with it. So we do have a couple of questions that came in, and please, if you have more, go ahead and enter them in that pod. There's a question. We are wondering if sometime in the future there will be a networking conference with training modules. And maybe Sherry, you can give us a little bit more clarification, but I'm thinking one of the things around networking, we're not planning any in-person conferences, but one of the things that we do offer that I mentioned earlier is the Family Leaders and Child Welfare Constituency Group, which we really look for state leaders and parent leaders who are doing this work. And that provides an opportunity for peer networking. We have a cap share space where folks can go in and look at resources, ask each other questions. We provide opportunities to have presentations and webinars on specific topics, but also opportunities for that peer networking to happen around a specific topic. So I don't know, Denise or Geraldo, if you have anything else to add, but I think in terms of the networking, that's what we have. We can have somebody put up the contact information for the Family Leaders and Child Welfare Constituency Group. You'll find it on our website, but we can provide that link. And then in terms of training modules, Denise talked briefly about it, but we did launch a few weeks ago our Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy, which is that very last link under resources. So that has 3 e-learning modules, and then it also has a 2-day curriculum that is intended to be co-trained by an agency person and a family leader. So that does have some very good, obviously, training components to it. So I'm hoping, Sherry, we're answering your question. But Geraldo, Denise, anything else to add?
Geraldo.
Yes, I totally encourage people to connect and to become members of our Family Leaders in Child Welfare Constituency Group. It's a great forum. It's a community of practice, and we will be working with the leaders of that, Ruth and Melinda, on sort of some specific forums where folks wanting more communication and exchange and partnership around parent-partner programs, that perhaps we can have like a special session around that. But I think that particular forum is really intended to mobilize and bring field leaders interested in this to learn from one another and to improve the design and implementation. And I'm sure this is a blueprint. It's like a framework, and I think we can truly start enriching this and make this a strong movement. I, for example, am very interested in learning more and collaborating with colleagues from throughout the country around the competency framework, as well as really establishing that as a role that is respected within child welfare. So that's a conversation that perhaps we can have in the near future. So really promising.
Great, thanks. And I do see that Christy added the information on that constituency group in the pod. So please feel free. And Sherry, if we didn't answer your question fully, please let us know. The next question, how long does the parent partner stay with the family? Is there a time limit?
Denise, you want to answer that?
Yeah, yeah. Our parent partners stay with a family through the entire life of the case. So as soon as a child has been removed, our parent partner will meet the family at that initial meeting. It could be like the child has just been removed, or maybe not even has been removed yet. There's just been a safety plan put in place, and a parent partner meets them at that initial meeting and walks through them through everything, through that meeting, through their first court date, through family team meetings, meets with them weekly, supports them throughout the entire case. And I think some of the parent partners probably have them relationships for life. It's such I don't know, a chaotic time or a time of crisis for the family, that the bond that is made between the parent partner and the family kind of remains there, and that relationship really never cuts off. But throughout the case, we're constantly building informal supports around that family. So once the case ends, they're already connected to the community and they're able to continue on that direction. So does that make sense? Yeah, they're with them the entire time.
Geraldo.
Yeah, so there may be some variation. I think that we've seen some programs where perhaps there is maybe some time limit, and I think that programs have structured that in some unique ways. But I think best practice, and it seems that standard practice, the consensus that is beginning to be built is around, that starting right from the beginning, and then through, case closure, and then hopefully the parent partner becoming someone as a part of that network of support for the parents. So.
Great, thanks so much. There was another question that came in, and she had to leave the webinar, so we can give a response to her later, but I think it might be helpful for other folks as well. The question is, parent-partner work just seems like good practice, but there has been a wide variation in the level of support, especially funding of this in different states. What's the secret? Why are some programs so successful at getting support even without solid outcomes?
Geraldo, I think that for us anyway, it is about the relationships. It's about walking with integrity. It's about building trust. The program speaks for itself. The work they do with families speaks for itself, and it will carry it very far. That has been the biggest piece. I know in some states, I will go back to relationships being built. Our Child Welfare Administration believes in the program and is pushing down. We've also been implemented into practice and policies within the department. Some states have had legislative action around it, but I think the bottom line is that it's been built through storytelling, our parents out there in the community changing the perspective of families, doing good work with families, engaging them in services, not creating more work for the system or anybody else, but really kind of building them relationships and engagement with the team. I think that speaks volumes. Our child welfare leaders are kind of pushing down from the top, and parent partners are pushing down from the bottom, and it's meeting in the middle. And our frontline workers just now are they're at a place where it's just practice. Funding has always been an issue, but it took us a long time of building that trust and building integrity and letting them know that we weren't going to be hurting the families or the department, and that we were really doing good work with families. And it showed in preliminary data through our evaluation process, and it shows in the families' reactions we give them surveys, and their response is incredible of what the parent partner brings to them during that case, throughout that case process.
Thanks, Denise. Yeah, I think the participant is right that there is a lot of variation throughout the country as to how these programs are supported. You know, we've seen some programs that are supported with CAPTA funds, child welfare funds, federal funds, and some are supported with funds from foundations or other, some state dollars. And as Denise said, I think the one example that we've seen that seems to be really promising but also challenging is what Washington State did, which is to get legislation. And so, you know, once they got that and it was signed by the governor, you know, this really provided the parent partner program with a, you know, regular line item on the state budget, and that's kind of the ultimate way. We do integrate that piece of funding. It's one particular component, so there is more information. So we encourage people to look at that, and then also as far as the Washington experience, there's also one component in the Navigator that provides information about that. And part of the work that we would like to do through the constituency group is to mobilize field leaders to talk about that. And I mentioned creating a competency framework. So hopefully we can really mobilize folks and build consensus around the importance of this role and establishing this role within child welfare in a more systematic way. So that's an invitation. I hope you'll find this helpful.
Great. Thanks so much, Geraldo and Denise. It looks like that's the end of our questions. So if folks have more, please feel free to contact us. I'll get to our contact information in a moment. On the next slide, we ask that you please provide your feedback. Take a few moments to share your thoughts. There's the link right there.
The feedback survey was a feature for the day of the webinar, and it is now closed.
On your screen, and you'll also receive an email within 24 hours to complete it. So it just really helps us improve our future webinars and programs. All results are confidential. So please take a couple minutes to do that. We'd really appreciate it. And then on the next slide, you'll see our contact information. There's my email, jennifer.marcelli@icfi.com, and then geraldo.pilarski@icfi.com, and then Denise is denisem@cfiowa.org. So please let us know if you have any questions. And again, here's our website and our general email information if you need to contact us, as well as the phone numbers.
The website is https://capacity.childwelfare.gov. The email is capacityinfo@icfi.com. The phone number is 844-222-0272.
So there's no final questions. I just want to say thank you all very much for taking the time with us today. We hope that you find the webinar as well as the product very useful in your programs. Denise or Geraldo, any last minute thoughts?
Geraldo.
Yeah, for those who are new to parent partner programs, welcome. Again, this is, to me, has been the most transformative process for our state agency here in New Hampshire. Personally, I have learned to appreciate the challenges that families have, as well as how much hope and strength our parents bring to this work. And I have so much respect for everyone that does this work of ensuring that family voice, family leadership, parent partners are truly integrated into the child welfare system. I think it is probably the most important transformative driver of change moving forward is this inclusion of families as partners. And so if you are new to this process, welcome. We hope you find this information useful. And we would like to say also that our center, our Capacity Building Center for States, provides tailored services. And so if your state, if you're interested in building a program, there may be opportunities for you to have a dialogue with your state leadership as to whether they have the center as a support right now and whether that could be included. So that's just another way for us to be a support to you.
And I just want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you for participating today. Thank you for your questions and joining us today. It's really an honor to be able to do this work and be able to see this product become live, and we're so excited to be able to share it with the world. So just appreciating you take the time today to spend it with us. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
And thank you. That does conclude today's presentation. Thank you for your participation.